BU. We'll explain a little bit about some of the opportunities that you have in terms of research, academics, internships, study abroad, and definitely feel free to ask some of our students that we have here with us about what their experiences that they've had with some of their internships or having the opportunity to study abroad as well. But as we dive in a little bit deeper, as a transfer student, all of the resources we have available to our students as first-year students are definitely going to be available to you as a transfer student as well. Similarly, you have the opportunity to either do a major, a minor, a double major, a dual degree program, and obviously we'll get into talking a little bit about our transfer credit process and how those might factor into your major or your minor or your double degree programs as well. When we start to think about what you might be doing here at the U, when you come in, you'll choose a specific school or college and a program of study within that school or college. But once you're here, you can definitely change your mind. We have what's called our inter-university transfer system, which will actually allow you to transfer within BU. So you can come in as maybe a history major in the College of Arts and Sciences, and maybe you take a class in PR in our College of Communications and decide that maybe that's going to be a better fit for you. You can actually switch into our College of Communications through the inter-university transfer system. We have a lot of our students that like to engage in research, as we are a top tier research institution, and we do allow research for all of our students across the board, no matter what school or college or what program that you happen to be a part of. We have our UROP, which is the Undergraduate Research Opportunities Program, also known UROP, that allows our undergraduate students to be able to do research throughout the campus based on their own ideas or their own interests. But of course, we have a lot of in-class research that goes on as well. Depending on your school or college, there actually might be required research components. So for instance, we have students that are in our Questrom School of Business that undergo a full semester of research. We also have students that are in our College of Engineering that will also do a full senior design research project in their final year. We have some amazing professors that are really helping to facilitate research, both through Europe and definitely through that in-class research as well. Obviously, for all of our students, we do want them to have a really good connection with the professors and students. So we do have a 10-to-1 student to faculty ratio. And we do also have an average class size of about 27 students. But I'm sure you're interested a little bit more at what the transfer population looks like here at BU. So to give you an idea, we have some numbers here. The September transfer class, we actually had about 817 applications this past year, with about 100 students, transfer students enrolling. And this current January, just getting started, we had about 947 applications, about 150 students that chose to enroll in that. We'll dive in a little bit deeper into what the actual transfer application looks like. So when you are deciding to transfer or apply to transfer to Boston University, you will apply through either the Common Application or the Coalition app. We do require all of your college transcripts. So for all of the institutions that you have attended previously, you will need to make sure you're submitting those college transcripts. We do also require a final high school transcript, which is going to be showing your proof of graduation or your high school proficiency exams. In addition to all of that, we do require transfer college reports. Typically, this is going to be coming either through the Common or Coalition application. This is something that you're traditionally going to be given to a registrar, and it lets us know that you're in good academic standing, as well as not having any disciplinary issues at your current institution. For any international transfer students or non-native English speakers, we do require either the TOEFL or the IELTS exams. And for those, we do require a composite score of at least 90 to 100, with typically minimum scores of about 20 per section. And then any student that plans on applying to our College of Fine Arts, we do also require an additional or portfolio. In terms of deadlines, we do actually have a deadline that's coming up very soon on March 1st for those students that are looking to transfer for our upcoming September term. And then for those students that are looking forward towards next year, the deadline for January is going to be on November 1st. If you are planning on applying for financial aid or financial assistance, we do require both the FAFSA, which is the free application for federal student aid, as well as a CSS profile. Those deadlines for having those submitted are going to be the exact same deadlines as your application deadlines. So either March 1st or November 1st. For any student that happens to be attending a community college and is enrolled in the Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society or any local students that we have, there are several merit scholarships available to those students. And for any student that is looking to enroll, you have to enroll with a minimum of 60 transfer credits for students to enroll as juniors. I apologize. And then the last piece here obviously is very important, is credit evaluations. So for students that are looking to have their credits transferred into Boston University, we do require syllabi for all of your college courses. We do strongly encourage that you submit those before you receive your application, your admissions decision, and you're actually able to upload those through your MyBU portal. Once you submit your application, you'll get information from our admissions office that will allow you to sign up for your MyBU portal. And this is where you'll get information if we are missing anything in terms of your application, and also allows you to submit all of those course syllabi. So what I'm going to do is actually welcome in our 2 current students. You can feel free to come on in. I guess what we'll have you do is maybe do a quick introduction of just your name, what school or college you're in, and when you're graduating. So we'll start with you.
Hi, my name is Brooke Galloway. I'm from Auburn, Massachusetts, and I'm a senior in the Freshman School of Business, studying business administration with a concentration in law.
Hi everyone, my name is Luca. I'm from Shanghai, China. I'm currently a junior studying public relations in the College of Communication with a minor of international relations in our Party School of Global Studies.
Okay, awesome. So I know many of you are starting to send in some questions. Definitely feel free to do so. We'll be answering those throughout the rest of the event here. But to get us started, how about we just have you chat about really what drew you to BU, or why did you decide to transfer to Boston University? We'll start with you, Brooke.
Sure. So I started off going to a private 4-year university, and I kind of felt within the first couple of weeks that wasn't the right fit for me. It was a little bit of a smaller university, and it wasn't right in the city. So I decided to start looking at some other schools. I also originally applied my senior year of high school as a nursing major to some different schools, and I realized that nursing wasn't exactly the right major for me. So opening up my choices to business led me to Boston University as one of my choices, and I realized between everything offered at BU, the bigger size of the university, and being right in the city of Boston was perfect for me, especially being Massachusetts local. I definitely was missing Boston a little bit.
Sure. For me, for my first year of college, I was studying international relations in Washington, D.C. in another foreign institution. And then by the end of my first year, I was thinking about maybe switching to a larger research university, and then Boston University just came to my mind. And then after I joined Boston University, I took a foundation level course in College of Communication, and then found out maybe public relations is more like a career I want to pursue. So I actually talked with my advisor, just asked her, I know I'm a transfer student, but can I actually change my major across college within Boston University? And then after I did some research, the only requirement for me is to finish that class, foundation level class, and then obtain a CM better grade in the course, and then just file intra-university transfer form, and then I will be a student in the College of Communication. And then by the end of just right before I walk out of my advisor's office, she looks through all the credits I transferred from a previous university and think maybe I can fulfill a minor of international relations just based on all the credit I transferred from. So that's me. I transferred from different university here, and then also did an intra-university transfer. I did a minor, but I'm still graduating within 4 years period.
So it seems like we have a couple questions on housing. So Luca, I know you had a really unique housing experience, especially your first year here. Do you mind talking about that?
Of course. So once I landed at Boston University, I lived in our Fenway campus, which is like 10 to 15 minutes walk from our central campus. That's a really nice apartment. That's a really nice dormitory style campus. I lived with a lot of transfer students as well, and also a lot of exchange students as well. So I met students from Japan, Singapore, France, Germany, Spain. We speak different language, have different culture, but we share the same dining hall, and then we will like just talk with each other and just make friends with each other in that Fenway campus. I really recommend Fenway campus for all the incoming transfer students if you're interested.
And Brooke, I know you've lived on several different places on campus. Do you have maybe a favorite dorm that you've lived in, or a favorite spot on campus?
Yeah, I've definitely lived across campus, and I've gotten a little bit of a feel for each one, and there's definitely pros across all of them, but by far my favorite campus to live in is what we call East Campus because of its close proximity to the Washington School of Business. Right now, I'm currently a resident assistant within the Towers. No, not to be mistaken with Warren Towers, but Towers. And it's right behind the Washington School of Business, so it's super easy for me to leave for class, even 5 minutes before if I really wanted to, and just hop over to class. And then it's also really close to Fenway Park. I can open my windows and hear the games going on pretty easily, so it definitely makes me feel like I'm right in the city of Boston. And then West Campus is also great because then you're closer to Fitness and Recreation Center, and that kind of has more of a campus feel if that's what you're looking for. But it's still really easy to get over there from East Campus. It's only about a 15-minute walk, so no matter where you are, you can definitely find a home at VU.
So we've had another question about can you major and minor across the university, so in different schools or colleges? The answer is yes. We don't like to build walls between our schools and colleges, so it is very easy to have a major in one school and a minor in a completely different school or college. Luca actually does exactly that. So Luca, you've got your major in college communications and then your minor in international relations, correct? Yeah. And then it also is easy to add on a double major or a dual degree program. And it is very easy to also switch between the schools or colleges as well. So Brooke, you've also changed your major a few times, is that right?
Yeah, I'm now on my third major, graduating this May, so keeping this one, but I've definitely been able to dabble in a few different interests, and I eventually landed on business. And I'm able to, like Luca, graduate within the 4 years with all these changes and everything. So it's worked out, luckily.
So what was your transition like to BU? If you could explain a little bit about, maybe what it was like for your first month here. How did you get incorporated with the campus? How did you find your community here? We'll start. Yeah, Brooke.
So definitely the transfer orientation process was a huge help in that. It was different from my first orientation process at my first university, just in the fact that I was with so many people of so many different backgrounds. I came from so many different universities, and I was a second semester freshman, but I was with people that were going into junior years of college, a whole mix of people. So I was definitely able to build kind of a friend base and bond with people about why it is that they chose to transfer. So that definitely made me feel more normal and coming to BU and not just like a person that was as lost I was originally feeling. And then even once I got on campus at BU, I realized there's so many different people here. I'm constantly meeting new people every day. So it didn't feel like I was a new kid coming, especially in the middle of the year, which I know so many people do have fears about. So I definitely wouldn't say like to have that stop you if you're thinking about coming spring or fall semester. Definitely do it works best for you. And then, yeah, like I said, there was so much to get involved with. So I just would talk to people in my classes. People are very friendly, very outgoing here and want to meet different people. And there's so many different clubs to get involved with that you can find people with similar interests of you, or you can go for something completely new because chances are BU offers it.
Yes, the transfer orientation definitely helps it. And also, I just want to add on something. So actually, my roommate, he's also a transfer student. He dragged me to this event called Splash. So Splash is a traditional event that we will hold once a semester. So during this event, more than 450 student-run club and organization will have their own booths in our Nickerson field in the western portion of the campus. You can just go and sign up for whatever club you're interested in. This is also the very first stop for most of the BU students by their most inner circle of their friends. So my roommate actually signed up for 10 different events and clubs, and he just quit a lot of them because he don't have time to finish all of them. But I also see a lot of different interesting events such as ski club and also some cultural events as well, such as like a Chinese Student Association club. You can definitely, as a transfer student, find a lot of people to talk with if you are really wanting transitioning around the Boston University here.
So I started to mention very briefly in our introduction about study abroad, and uniquely we have a really cool internship-based study abroad program. So we've gotten a couple questions about internships, and I know that you've done a really interesting program. So do you mind chatting about that real quick?
Yeah, so exactly a year ago, last spring, I did the Sydney, Australia internship study abroad program, which was by far one of the best things I've chosen to do my entire college career. So I went and spent last spring semester in Sydney, Australia, was where I was based, and I did a full semester worth of coursework there, and they kind of split up in two parts. So the first half of the semester, I was taking two classes, both 4 credits each, as if I was taking classes here, and then the second part of the semester, I did one traditional kind of class, and then the other 4 credit class I was in was actually an internship program. And BU helps to place students in these international internship programs, which for one, just being a guaranteed internship is something that I know definitely made me feel more at ease, because internships is such a buzzword here in college. So having that kind of guaranteed for me at some point in the 4 years was really great. And then just having it be in Sydney, Australia made it that much better. I really got to connect with people and experience a different kind of workplace. It's definitely a little different from the US, but I worked at a corporate travel management company over there, and I really loved it. They even sent me on their little corporate retreat they had, so they treated me pretty well. And then even with those classes and that internship, I still had plenty of time to go travel. I went to the Great Barrier Reef, did some scuba diving there. During spring break, I went to Thailand, which was an awesome experience as well. And also headed over to Fiji for a weekend too. So definitely a little different than my usual semester here at BU. And it really put me kind of out of my comfort zone, and I made a lot of really great friendships in the process as well. Yeah, definitely missing that this spring semester. It's definitely a little bit colder here and a lot less beach time, but still love being back in Boston.
Definitely jealous of that experience. And when it comes to internships, Luca, I know you haven't necessarily had an internship just yet, but you're kind of going through that process now. Do you want to talk to us about, what it's been like working with the Center for Career Development or your FY 102 class?
Sure. So at Boston University, we have a Center for Career Development department, and then they offer different classes for first year and also transferring students as well. So I took the first year 102 class in my second semester here at Boston University. So during that class, it's a pass and fail class. We only meet once a week, so there's no homework. There's like no extra pressure on your regular schoolwork. So basically, the professor taught me how to write cover letter based on the career that I want to pursue now. And also, she taught me how to modify my resume. But most importantly, she introduced a platform that's called Handshake. So basically, it's our BU students on LinkedIn. We can upload our resume to the website, and then the website will find match job for us, and then we can just apply for jobs throughout the website. So I know a lot of my friends use Handshake and they find their internships throughout their college life, and I'm currently using that as well.
Great. So we've had a couple questions about the transfer credit process and how exactly that works. So just to clarify, as I said earlier in the introduction through the slides, we do require syllabi from every single course that you're trying to transfer into Boston University. It is very simple to upload it through your MyBU portal, and we're able to do the evaluation process through that route. So when it comes to the transfer of credit process, how is that for you both?
I remember, I think I emailed all of my syllabi. It's been a long while, so trying to record that. I remember I had all the syllabi by all the courses I took for the first year of college, and then send them to the registrar, I think. And then once I landed on Boston University, I can go to my BU link and see that all the credits are being approved or not. Luckily, all my credits are being approved. So I know some of my friends, some of their credits could be denied, but they can just always contact the registrar office and just explain more further on the detail for their syllabi, and hopefully they can just give you those credits as well.
Yeah, my process was pretty easy. I just emailed the syllabi even before coming to BU. I was curious about what they may or may not accept, and online they have the transfer equivalency guide. So that includes any syllabi that have been submitted by students from a whole range of universities. So I was able to go see my previous school, and I actually saw nearly all the classes I had already on there. So that gave me a good indication of what was going to be accepted. One class I did have to kind of appeal was a religion class, because my first school was a Catholic university, and it was accepted 4 credits, but I was then able to go ask about it and ask if I could have this fulfill the humanities requirement. And within a day, they got back to me, said, yep, that checks out. So they're pretty good with listening to students and working with them as long as it fits the requirements necessary.
So we had a question on financial aid and what the average financial aid package was for transfer students. So those who are wondering, the average financial aid package typically comes out to about $29,000 per year. That's coming from the institution itself in terms of institutional grants. Thinking a little bit about just, what it's been like to be an actual transfer student on campus. Do you feel that there is a stigma with being a transfer student? Do you feel that you sort of identify more as a transfer student, or do you feel that you're really integrated into the community now? You just kind of see yourself as a BU junior or senior now?
Yeah, as a senior now, I definitely it's kind of a far away process for my second semester freshman year, but even still, like I was saying a little bit earlier, there's so many people on campus, so it's not like you see the same people every day. I do bump into my friends around campus, but I'm constantly meeting new people nearly every day. So it's not something that's super obvious here. And also, everyone is super accepting, always looking for new people. But even when I am talking to someone and it just kind of comes up in conversation that they are transferred, that's just like another bonding factor. I know I always get super excited whenever someone tells me, oh, I'm a transfer too. So it's just kind of something else that you can add to kind of your backstory. And I think just like really kind of makes you grow as a person. So I don't view myself as any different or that I'm any different than a student that maybe came in here right from high school. And I really value my experience. I think it's definitely helped me quite a bit.
Yeah, same to me. I think if I don't mention I'm a transfer student, nobody will even notice. I'm any different with those students who start in their first year of college. But actually, I think bonding is I think transferring is also like a really nice bonding part. If someone mentioned, oh, they're transferring from other university, I will also like ask follow-up questions like, oh, where do you transfer from? But I think that's like another like bonding part as well.
Yeah, and obviously kind of along those lines, we are obviously a larger institution with 16,000 undergraduate students. So where do you feel that you've found your sense of community, or do you feel that you found like your smaller sense of community within our larger community here at BU?
So after I transferred to BU, I also had a few on-campus working jobs experiences. At first, I was working at one of our dining halls. We have like several dining halls, and then there's one called the Warren Tower, and then they have like a late night shift where you can just like prepare food, and then they don't have a manager, so it's all run by students. So I met a lot of really good friends during that period as well. And also later on, I joined BU Admissions. Over the summer, they have like a summer staff application, and I successfully applied and then joined the summer staff team, and then met a lot of really close friends during the summer staff. So, and a lot of them are not transfer students, but I still like felt we're like a really bonded relationship.
Yeah, I've definitely made a lot of really good friends there. There's things I've done. I'm always trying to meet new people in classes. Definitely study abroad when we were all living together, because there was a BU center when we were there, so we all lived in the same building. So I've made some of my closest friends through just traveling the world with them. Was a great way to bond. And then even as a resident assistant in Towers right now, we are so close as a whole building. There's 16 of us in Towers, so that's definitely kind of the closest and best friend group that I've made on campus, and that wasn't something that I was expecting at all. I thought it was just going to be a great job, a great work experience, but it's definitely been a really great source of support, especially in my senior year, going through so much growth and transition. So definitely tons of opportunity to meet great people here.
So this next question might be a little difficult, but I think you guys are going to do great. If you could describe BU in one word, what would that word be? I said it would be a little difficult.
Opportunity.
Okay.
Yeah. It's definitely been a place for me to grow. I've struggled. I've had tons of fun times. I've really opened myself up to diversity like I've never seen before. My high school wasn't the most diverse place. So coming here, and I remember even just walking around campus and hearing so many different accents, so many different languages being spoken, it really just shocked me at first. Now I kind of catch myself kind of just getting used to it and not really like noticing when someone's speaking a different language or whatnot, but I'm definitely really grateful for the opportunities that you has given me in the classroom through 3 different internships, and now even as I prepare for a full-time position this upcoming summer in Boston, it's definitely given a lot back to me, and it's also exactly what you put into it. So I've definitely worked hard here, but yeah, it's given me a lot of great times, a lot of fun, a lot of opportunities.
I would say it's big. Also, although we are located in a city, and but our campus is very linear. So basically, our classes and the dorms and all the like our offices are located on both sides of Commonwealth Avenue. So our campus is about 1.3 miles stretch. We refer to our campus as eastern portion of the campus, central portion of the campus, and also like the western portion of the campus. It's definitely if you walk on a weekday, for example, Wednesday morning at 8 a.m., 9 a.m., you'll see like a lot of students just walking down the Commonwealth Avenue. And that's the most, if you ask me to describe Boston University, that's the first thing I will think of, is the students walking on Commonwealth Avenue. Yeah.
It's definitely a unique experience when all the students are on campus and you get to kind of walk through and see everybody. So let's chat a little bit about academic advising. Do you feel that you've gotten a chance to really work with your academic advisor that you've had? Do you feel like they've been really helpful throughout your time here?
Do you want to go ahead?
Definitely, especially since I did an intra-university transfer, so I definitely make a lot of encounter with my advisors, both in College of Communication as well as the Party School of Global Studies. So I would say if the advisor didn't mention that the credits I transferred from my previous university matches like a requirement for minor, I will not add a minor of international relation. I would just switch my major and then be all set with that. But since she found out that some of my credits matches one of the track requirement for international relation as a minor, I just had this minor with me, and then I just feel grateful for my advisor.
Yeah, I kind of had a similar experience where I did the intra-university transfer from the College of Arts and Sciences to the Question School of Business, and definitely when I had all these thoughts racing through my head, whether I could graduate on time doing this kind of switch, whether it was the right choice for me, they're definitely a great person to kind of rely on. They see so much, so many different students with all these kind of decisions they're making too, so they definitely experience it all, and are super helpful. And you can make them they can be as hands-off or as hands-on as you want them to be. So they're definitely great resources to have around. And even I know when I was preparing for study abroad in Australia, I definitely went to the Question advisors and asked them, is this something that will keep me aligned with my academic path I want to be on? And they've helped me, and they'll just go outline all 4 years if you really want them to right in front of you.
So is there anything that you know now as a junior or senior, as a transfer student, that you wish you had known when you first started BU? Anything that you wish you could maybe go back and tell yourself?
I would say for the FitRec Center, because before I came to Boston University, I don't know our FitRec Center is located in the western part of the campus. So because I know I really love playing soccer and that I really wish to join a soccer club, if there's one advice that for me, I would probably choose a camping, not camping, on-campus housing spot near the western portion of the campus so that I can be closer to the FitRec Center. But as one, I think as we just said, we have different dining hall across the campus, so it doesn't matter where you live. There's unique experiences. Eastern portion of the campus is also really good because it's closer to all the classes and the offices and also all the academic buildings. But the western portion is more towarding campus life, student lives, academic athletes, that portion.
Yeah, I definitely didn't take advantage of FitRec and all that has to offer until this semester. Got the FitRec Fit Pass semester the first time this semester, and enjoying all the spin classes and everything that we have to offer. But I guess just to not be afraid to do things on my own, just kind of go and exploring everything, because I'm here for only, well, I was here for 3.5 years, but you're only here for such a short amount of time, so don't be afraid to make mistakes, be a fool, do whatever you want, because it's better to have tried something and not have it worked out than live with any regrets. It's only a couple months I have left here, and there's still so much I could try.
So they both mentioned our Fit Rec and our fitness center, which is located on the eastern part of our campus. It's available for all of our students. It's pretty state of the art. You did the fitness pass, so you get to take some really awesome fitness classes. We have a pool, we have a rock climbing wall. It's pretty awesome. So thinking about, I guess, recreation in general, if we kind of step away from campus, what are some of your favorite things just to do in Boston?
Definitely because I think you also live near Fenway area as well. So when I live in the Fenway campus, the Museum of Fine Arts, and also there are a lot of like museum gardens near Fenway area. They're all free if we show our BUID, so we can have like free access to all of the museums. There's some of the gardens as well near the Fenway area as well, and also they just opened a time out market in the Fenway area, just right in front of our Fenway campus. So there's like a lot of really delicious food in the market as well. Just feel free to go explore the food of Boston. And also the Red Sox, the Fenway Park is also located in that area. As a student of Boston University, we have $9 student ticket to some of their home games here in Boston. So also take advantage of that as well.
Yeah, I'm definitely someone that likes to go out and explore. So you can just walk around, you can come across something new like every weekend you're here. I know, especially my sophomore year, I loved just going online and searching up like free events happening this week, and there's always something new. Even during winter, there's always something to do to kind of get out of the cold and to go explore a little bit more. I'm a huge concert goer, so I've definitely taken advantage of being around so many different great venues. Even we just have Paradise Rock Club right on campus kind of too, so I've gotten to see a few of my favorite bands perform. Red Sox, of course. I even got to see a Red Sox concert one summer when I was working in summer missions, actually. Got to see Foo Fighters there. So definitely Walter Oyster here.
Also, just add on another thing, our campus is also located right by the Charles River. So I know a lot of my friends that love like just walking on the Esplanade. They just bring some food and just have like a little picnic, watch the sunset, which is like a really, really nice spot to go over the summer.
I kayaked it once too. Definitely recommend.
It was quite nice. I know that as well. So we've had a couple questions on the application just timeline and a little bit more about the application process. So in terms of the deadlines, once again, if you are looking to start this September, the deadline is coming up just in a few weeks in March 1st, with the financial aid deadline being that exact same day. If you are thinking a little bit more in the future and starting with us next January, that deadline is going to be November 1st. In terms of submitting your syllabi, you really can do that right when you have submitted your application to BU. You'll get that information to set up your MyBU portal, and once you have that, you can start to submit your syllabi even before you have your admissions decision. Typically, we try to get admissions decisions out generally early April to mid-April, and then after that, it's going to be on a rolling basis. So you will generally hear back a decision from the admissions office at least by mid-April, and then you're able to go through the process from there. If you are looking in terms of applying for next January, you'll typically get that decision by early December this year. So let's see. So we've talked a little bit about Boston, some of your favorite things to do in Boston. Let's see. Do you guys have maybe a favorite spot on campus at all?
My favorite spot is always changing.
Okay.
So for this semester, I'm thinking about, I never know there's like a library on the fourth floor of CVS. So we have like 23 different libraries across the college. Most of the students will go to the main one, which is our Muga Memorial Library, which is located in the central part of the campus. But actually, we have like 22 different libraries that spread across the campus. So the one in the College of Art and Science, the fourth floor, is the Stone Science Library, where they have AC on like throughout the year. There's always very, very quiet, and then you can just find like a secret spot and then just sit there for the entire afternoon. And there's always empty seats every single time I go there. I don't know if there will be empty seats or not after this session, but that's my favorite spot to go. Yeah.
Whenever it's nice and warm outside, which hopefully will be coming soon, I really love going on what we call the BU Beach. It's a little outdoor spa right in central campus. They call it the beach because Story Drive is right in front of it, and if you close your eyes, the cars going by sound like ocean waves. It also looks over the Charles River. And as someone who just loves being outside, it's kind of a good spot just to, even though there are cars like pushing by, it's kind of a nice spot just to kind of sit, hang out with friends. People always love to hang up their hammocks. People will be throwing around frisbees, so it kind of gives you that classic college feel in the middle of the city as well that I really enjoy, and I definitely can't wait to take advantage of again.
Yeah, it's starting to get warmer already, so I'm excited.
Yeah, it's not too bad today.
And you know, dining on campus, what is your opinion of our food on campus?
Better than most places, for sure. I definitely appreciate that, especially because, like I said, I'm a resident assistant, so I'm actually living in a dorm style. So I do partake in the dining hall plan. There was only one semester on campus where I lived in an on-campus apartment where I didn't have a dining hall plan, and I really missed it. And was always begging my friends to bring me back in. There's always a lot of options, and there's a few different dining halls on campus, so no matter where you are, like we said, you're always pretty close to food. And the pasta station at BC Dining Hall is honestly my favorite. The employee that works there knows me by name, and whenever he sees me walk by with One pasta, he always calls me out and tells me he misses me. So you definitely also kind of have another good community that makes you kind of feel like you're more at home within the dining halls as well. And it's also really fun because they do a lot of different events, theme nights. I know they have dim sum brunch, which I always miss, but they do it a couple of Sundays each semester. So that's the one thing I have to do before I graduate in the dining halls. And then they also have dining points, and there's even a Starbucks right within the Question School of Business that I'm always taking advantage of. So dining hall here, pretty good experience for me at least.
And also, every fall semester, our school will host the lobster night. So basically, for a lot of dining hall, you can just use your the dining pass, and then they will give you tickets in exchange for like a large lobster. So normally we will consume about 8,000 lobster per lobster night, so which is like a campus tradition, I would say. So definitely take advantage of that.
I managed to get 4 lobsters
Really?
this past semester.
Oh wow.
I found all the vegans.
Yeah, so actually going off of that, if you do adhere to a certain diet or if you do have certain allergies, we do try to accommodate those. So we do have a lot of vegan and vegetarian meals on pretty much all of our dining halls and different options that we have. We also do have a gluten-free kitchen, so you actually have to swipe in to be able to be allowed into the gluten-free kitchen, and we make sure that there is actually no gluten within this small section of the dining hall as well, to make sure we are accommodating as many people as possible in any type of food dietary needs. So let's see. We talked a little bit about housing, food. Oh, let's actually go into a little bit more about some of the professors you've had. So do you feel that you actually have, a good connection with your professors, or do you feel like you just kind of go in and, sit in your lecture and then leave after class?
Yeah, I've definitely built some really good connections with my professors, especially like even in my large lectures. I think my biggest class was around 200 students, but they still always make themselves super accessible through office hours. They have to hold them, and they're always begging students to even come by. They like truly want to get to know all their students. And even a few different of my professors have been really great with giving me letters of recommendation, or just if they know I have a specific interest in something, they'll reach out to me. Even right now, I'm in human resources management class, and my professor knows that I'm going to be working in HR full-time this coming summer, so he sent me a few different articles just specifically to me because he knows I have that interest. So I definitely am able to kind of build that connection with my professors here.
I'm actually debating over which professor should I shout out to because I have a favorite professor, but I think the one I want to mention is his name is Professor Lucas, and he's a very senior professor in our party school of global studies. He was born in the 1940s, I would say, and then he was born in Czechoslovakia, and then went to Soviet Union, and then immigrated to the United States. So the way he actually taught the history, especially the Cold War history, covered multiple perspectives, and also he one day he invited a previous CIA agent to the classroom and just talk about the chapters we read on the books, but he actually invited us real former CIA agent to the classroom and just share with us his story in the auditorium, which is like really really cool. That's kind of like a surprise for all the students. every class, there's like 5 minutes before the class ends. He was standing in the middle of the auditorium, and then just ask us, is there any question regarding on the textbook, regarding life itself, regarding like histories, and then we can just he will just he really wants to answer the students' question from that point.
Just to give you an idea of some numbers, our average class size is actually 27 students, and we do have a 10-to-1 student to faculty ratio. So we really do encourage our students and faculty and professors to really get a chance to know each other both inside and outside of the classroom. So I guess kind of broadening things out a little bit. I know you guys talked about it briefly in the beginning, but really just why BU? BU is definitely very unique in the fact that we are such a large institution. We're in Boston. We're still a private school. So was there one specific factor that really drew you to BU?
I think the factor that drew me is I know BU has a lot of college schools, so I wasn't very certain about like the career I want to pursue in my first year of college. But I know like here at BU I can have a lot of options, and even if I don't want to do that anymore, I can also just switch around with like just graduating still on time. So I think that's the part that drives me.
Yeah, kind of going off of that, I was pretty indecisive for a little bit. I did 3 majors on my third now, as I said. So yeah, just like knowing that I have so much to choose, and I looked at all the different colleges, and I figured if I can't find it at BU, then I just don't know what I want to do. And then also I didn't know if I wanted to do study abroad or not. So just having such a huge study abroad selection also was great. All different clubs, no matter what kind of different interests I felt like I was going to have come up, I felt like you could really satisfy it. And then, like I mentioned earlier, too, just being in the city and having access to so many different companies that I could go and intern with and really just build myself not only academically but professionally as well. All closely within where I live on campus was a really great appeal to me.
So we had a question about Greek life at BU. We actually do offer Greek life, both professional and social fraternities and sororities. Are either one of you involved in Greek life at all? No. It is a small population of students that are involved in Greek life, though we do offer that for students that are interested. I was actually walking through our student union today to go to Starbucks and re-up on my coffee, and one of the sororities was giving out free Dunkin' Donuts. I have no idea what it was for, but I got a free donut for lunch, which was kind of nice. You guys know anyone that's involved in sororities or fraternities?
I even know the formal recruitment for sororities just happened this past weekend, and I have a few different friends that are in them. And like I just said, like I have friends in sororities, so you don't have to be in a sorority or a fraternity here to make friends. I know some people have that fear when they know a school has Greek life, but it's definitely something that I like, where you can choose to be involved with if you want to, but you can also easily choose to avoid it if that's something that doesn't interest you. And yeah, I even considered joining a professional fraternity as well, because I know we have a few different ones within the freshman school of business that some of my friends are also in that kind of expanding network.
So we've had a couple questions a little bit more about the application review process for transfer students, and to delve into that a little bit more in terms of what we're really looking at when we're looking at these transfer applications. So in terms of having you submit your high school transcript, we are looking at that primarily for your proof of graduation. We do look at your high school GPA and some of the classes that you've taken, but that's not going to be the biggest part of the review when it comes to your transfer application. Really, we are going to be looking at the courses that you've taken at your institutions or your current institution and how well you've done in those. So typically, students were looking for to have at least a 3.0 GPA cumulative from all of their college level work. And once again, we are going to be looking at every single institution that you have attended. So if you have attended multiple schools or colleges, we're going to be looking at all of the courses that you've taken there. In terms of recommendation letters, those are not required. You can definitely feel free to submit them from any professors that you may currently be taking courses with, or maybe have taken some in the past, but they are not required as part of the application process. And it's been a while for you guys in the application process, so I probably won't have you guys go into that too much, but did you feel it was an easy process, at least with submitting applications and materials?
Yeah, that part is definitely easy, but I would just say I actually plan out pretty early. I start planning at the end of November, like November-ish, and then like I did a lot of college research, and then like in the end just like knocked out Boston University in the end. So I definitely just recommend if you're thinking about coming next spring, just start early, just like and even as a transfer students, just like start early, just look for all the college and programs you're interested in.
I started planning as early as my second week freshman year. Yeah, one word of advice I would kind of give is the fact I know in high school I had a really great guidance counselor who kind of helped me stay on top of everything, and I would say the biggest difference I realized was the fact that it's kind of more on you. You're in college, so you're a little bit more grown up and mature, so everything kind of is on you. So keeping track of all those dates. If you're not a planner person, get a planner and just kind of make sure you have such and such requirements all in and ready to go. That way you don't run into any issues where you actually accidentally miss a deadline or something. I know financially it was like one deadline that I was super set on making sure everything was in for that. But yeah, it's Common App, so I was already familiar with that process from high school. So other than that, it's pretty easy, I would say.
The admissions website is also a very good resource. We do have a section that's just for transfer students, so you can go on there, see what all of our requirements are. And once you have submitted your application through the MyBU portal, if we are missing any additional information, we'll let you know. And for the things that you can submit, you can actually submit through the MyBU portal as well. So we do try to make the process as seamless and as transparent as humanly possible. Let's see, so we got some time for a couple more questions here. Let's see. So actually, how about you talk about your RA experience since you're currently an RA this year and or I guess for your final year. How's that going for you, having that on-campus job?
Yeah, I actually really like it a lot. I'm compensated through free housing and dining plan, so that definitely is a huge saver cost-wise. But I also didn't realize, like I mentioned earlier, I've gotten really great friends out of it. My whole tower's staff, we're really, really close, and that just makes the job even more enjoyable. My floor has 32 female residents on it, all of which are freshmen except for 2 sophomores. So it's also just kind of been fun to go back and explore like freshman year with them all over again, especially as a senior. Definitely makes me a little emotional sometimes seeing them get to experience it all over again. But it's really great to kind of also have a leadership position to put on my resume. It's something that definitely came up in job interviews. They like to see like what I was learning from it and how it was having me grow as a person. So it's definitely something I would recommend, especially if you want to live on campus. I have a single too, so that's also really great to get to come home and just have a whole space be mine.
And look, you had an on-campus job as well. So what was it like maybe searching for and getting that on-campus job?
Actually, the best thing I appreciate is our student link. So that's the link where it's the same website we used for class registration, academic advising, and also just like food and dining hall points. It's all like on the same website. And also there's like one tab where you can find on-campus job recruitment. It will like be live today every single day. So basically, if you like want to refresh, there will be some new on-campus job opportunities pops up. You can find them on the website, and you can just they will give you the email who to contact with, and also like where you can if they require some like specific requirements, you can just go and like edit your resume and cover letter, and then send them to the according email address, which is like it's pretty easy to find on-campus job here on the campus, I would say. And there are a lot of like job opportunities that keep refreshing. So yeah, it's a really pleasant experience for me.
Great. So traditions. Do you have a favorite BU tradition?
So apart from the lobster night, there's like one campus tradition that is so it's on the center of our campus. There's like a little seal. So during our orientation during the transfer orientation, we were told that we should never step on the seal because it's just like an old campus tradition. So it's just like very interesting to see whenever we're on the road to our classes, to our jobs, we'll see like just students trying to avoid the big seal. in the center of the campus, which is like really cool. And also we see a lot of like tourists and also prospective students and families stand in front of the seal and just like look at the seal, which is like it's not like a thing you participate in, but just like a campus tradition that it always makes you like wonder.
Yeah, get stuff on the seal soon after I graduate to make sure, just in case something happens. But I really enjoy BU hockey. I've always wanted to go to a school with a big sporty kind of pride to it. So hockey is definitely fun here. Just recently, last week before, we had Beanpot, which is where Big Four Boston hockey schools, BU, Boston College, Northeastern University, and Harvard all compete for Beanpot. Sadly, we lost in the final game to Northeastern, but we will come back next year. And I actually didn't get to go this year, which was super sad for my senior year because I have a night class, but I was still following, making sure I was keeping track of the score while I was in class. And yeah, I feel like it's just like another thing that kind of like brings the whole school together with it being such a big school, having like that kind of common factor and going over to Agganis Arena. I know even this Saturday I'll be going to another game. It's something that's really fun. I know something since I'll be living in Boston this summer, even as an alum, I'm definitely going to go back and check out games, show my BU pride.
I don't even really follow baseball, or wow, as a baseball. See, exactly. I don't even follow hockey, but I still kind of keep up with that. So we've had a couple questions about like diversity on campus, and I know you kind of mentioned a little bit of living on Fenway campus and kind of having that international diversity on campus. So how do you feel that since that time you feel like you've engaged maybe with some of your international friends that you've lived with, or how do you feel like you kind of get that sense of diversity on campus?
First of all, BU is a really big university, so no matter what, you have meet like a lot of people. And therefore, I also attend a lot of like large classes and also smaller classes, seminar classes as well. And then a part of all the international students I met in my Fenway campus in the dormitories, I also have like met a lot of international friends in some of the class I had. So it's definitely it's a very global university. You will meet people with different backgrounds who speak different language on your way to your classes. So definitely take advantage of that because it's just like so amazing to see like if the people that's beside you in the same class actually travel from like a really really far place in the other side of the earth. So just like everyone has like a lot of story to tell. So it's definitely a really another bonding part just to kindly ask where you're from and then just like some cool stuff they carry.
Yeah, all across campus, I experience it. A bunch of my residents are from different parts of the world. In the classroom, I see it all the time. Even one of my favorite things about the Questrom School of Business, when you walk in, you look up and there's all these flags around you, and that represents all the different students that are currently in Questrom. So there's so many flags, and it just kind of like hits you all at that time. Like, wow, like I go to school with so many cool, unique people. And then even within the classroom setting in Questrom, if there's 18 components to the class, which most of them do, professors like to make the teams really diverse, so they'll try to have like it equally split between people who are domestic students and international students. So that kind of always opens up my mind a little bit when I have someone from a different country tell me how they perceive things being from that other country. So yeah, diversity is definitely one of my favorite things about you for sure. Never thought I would have so many friends from so many different places around the world. And now I know if I want to go visit these places, I have someone to go crash with.
Great. So we're kind of to the end now. We're going to wrap it up, but we've got one last question for you guys. And really the kind of question, I guess, is what advice do you have for incoming transfer students?
For mine, it's just be brave and just take the opportunities that BU has offered. Just go explore and just meet different people here because BU has so much to offer. Just take the full advantage of everything. Just don't be shy. Just approach different people and then talk with them. Just make friends.
Yeah, kind of similar to that. Like college, your undergrad only happens once, so make the most of it. Especially if you're lucky enough to be able to attend a school like BU that has so much. Definitely just go for everything. Don't care if none of your friends are doing it. If it's something that you want to truly do, go after it and put your all into it because the end of the day, that's your experience, so make the most of it.
So we definitely had a lot more questions that unfortunately we couldn't get to in the span of this hour, but once again, the website is going to be a very good resource. You're able to get a lot more information, not just about the transfer process, but about different schools or colleges or courses or really everything that's going on at Boston University. Also, if you do have additional questions, feel free to send us an email or get in touch with the admissions office. We'd be more than happy to try to answer as many questions as you have. Definitely want to thank our students, Luca and Brooke, for joining us today, answering our questions. If you choose to attend BU and are accepted as a transfer student, you might even see Luca on campus sometime next year. Unfortunately, we're going to have to say goodbye to Brooke very soon, but she's going to be kind of in the area still. So thanks again for joining us. Hopefully this was very informative, and hope you have a great rest of your evening.